Okay, so this is the third video related to machine simulation in Fusion. And let's just get started. So one of the first things you need to be concerned about with doing this is your tool library. So I'm going to go up to my preferences, up here, manufacturer. Enable cloud libraries. You want to absolutely make sure that is turned on. So do that before you do anything. And then if we come to so I'm in the manufacturer workspace, by the way. If we come to the tool library, you'll have this cloud here. So you can create a new library if you don't have one already. So I have a bunch of libraries. Let's call this cnc-o-rama. So that's my cnc-o-rama library. So I can just add some tools. Let's just, as an example, look for, this is the Fusion library. And most people have done this by now if you're watching this video, but I'm just gonna go through this. Milling tools inch. I'm gonna do milling. Let's do a flat end mill. And I'll do a 1/2 inch flat end mill. So in some cases, you can drag this straight to your, let me drag it straight to your tool library. So I have that now. And then we also might need a tool holder for that. So if you go down far enough, we have these vendor libraries. So I'm gonna look down there. And I'm going to look for Haas tool holder. Okay, clear searching folders. And I want like a Cat 40, ER25, something like this. So you should use what you actually have in your machine. Don't just follow what I'm picking. But if we do copy, right click and copy holder, and then come back to your tool in your cloud library, and then you can right click and apply holder to tool. Now if we look at this, the holder's there. So there's some other details here, like the cutter, like the length below holder is important. So I want to make this a longer end mill. Let's do flute length of 2 inches. And if I'm going to do that, I should make also the shoulder length 2 inches, and then length below holder should be a little more than 2 inches. So maybe I'll do like 2.25. Overall length should probably be more like 4 inches if I'm doing that. All right, so this is my tool holder with my tool in it. Since I grabbed that tool from the Fusion library, it has a bunch of speed and feed data in it already. And maybe I'll just call this tool 1. All right, so that's how you can get a tool in your library. If you can't find the tool in this list of vendor tools, the tool holder, this is a really good video. You should check this out. So to find this, you just have to search like CNC or NYC CNC upload tool model Fusion 360. So this is where if you find the tool model from the vendor, which is pretty easy to do, this shows you how you can upload it, because it's a little bit different process than just like uploading the CAD file. All right, so when it comes to 5-axis, the more you can precisely model things out, the better results you're going to get, and the more likely you are to detect an unwanted crash. Okay, so before we get too far into this, there's one thing we forgot to do. We needed one more joint origin at the bottom of this to use as our fixture attachment when we go into the machine. So I'm going to go back to our original vise here, and under assemble, do a joint origin right at the center of the bottom of the vise there. So now we got 3. And then if we save that, we can close this. And up here, that tells us we have an out-of-date referenced model. So we can click that, update this. Okay, now we're good. We have a joint origin down there. Okay, so I'm going to do a new setup. I'm going to select my machine, and I have this here ready to go. So we have the wrong model. So it thinks our model is this entire thing. So I'm going to reselect the model. And I have my stock here still. If I just click here, it's going to think the stock is the model. So if I do a long left click, I can now select body 1 as my stock, or as my model. And then we need to select our fixture, which is, there's 3 parts for the fixture. And then the fixture attachment is this new joint origin we put down there. So now if we come to stock, we're going to do from solid, and then just pick this. Part position, we don't need to worry about that right now. And then usually your WCS, you would put a 1 here for G54. Since we're using the machine here, it wants a 54 for G54. So I'll say okay. All right, so I got some tool paths in here. So I'm doing facing on the top, then I do roughing from one side. That's with the tool orientation and adaptive. And I do the same roughing on the other side. And then I'm using a steep and shallow just to clean up the whole edge. And I did steep only. And I think I set the maximum tilt to 60 degrees. So let's see if we simulate this, what we're going to get. All right. So we're in here, this is our machine. We're actually looking at the back of the machine there. And with a machine you can do show base. You can make it transparent, which doesn't really help that much. But if we unclick show base, usually that's kind of all we need to see. And then we can just simulate this. And we want to turn on stop on collision. So if there is a collision, sometimes it's hard to even see it, but we want to make sure it stops for us and we can see that collision. And if there was a crash, I'd see a red line down here somewhere, and I'm not seeing that. So that's good so far. Another thing you can do is right click and protect these tool paths once you're happy with them. Let me unprotect this and let's see if we can make it crash. So I'm going to change the tool axis limit to 120. All right, here we are in the simulation. I pushed the max tilt a little higher, and you can see down here we already have a bunch of collisions. So and the looks like the head collides with the C-axis table there. All right, so a few other things that come to mind. You can actually probe your vise. Probe your table first maybe, and then probe your vise and find out the exact location of that vise on the table, and then dial that in your setup. Or with the joint origin that you put on the bottom of the vise. And then the other thing is you might want to think about where your origin is. Right now we have the origin set to the top of the part, or the top of the stock. That's really not a very precise location. So for 5-axis, it might make sense to put your origin like at the top of your vise jaws and then the center of your part, or the center of your vise. I'd actually be curious if you have experience with this, where you put your origin when you're doing these kind of things, or where you think would be a good idea to put the origin. So let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, and that's it for the playlist. Thank you.